has been kind of a long time in the making. At least Lindsay and I have had this idea, or been trying to get this off the ground for quite some time now. But I'll just introduce myself. My name is Michael McGill. I work at the Shasta Valley RCD. I came to the RCD last July and work on the forestry and fuel side of things here. And so I'm kind of taking over the RCD's leadership of this map platform and really trying to kind of get it to a point where all of us are comfortable using this platform and getting all the use and utility out of it that it is capable of providing us. And so I think if we wanted to just do a quick round of introductions, that would be helpful for me. I don't think I've met quite everybody on this call. So if we wanted to do that, maybe Lindsay, we'll just start with you. And I think we're all ordered differently on our screens, but.
Yeah, we can just kind of popcorn to somebody else once we finish our intro. So I'm Lindsay Lashik. I also work with Michael here at Shasta Valley RCD, and I think I know most of you, or most of you know me. Yeah, I'm actually transitioning out of my role at the RCD because I'm going to be starting a new position with the Nature Conservancy next month. So yeah, Michael is valiantly taking over this project, and so we're in that transition period now as we're rolling this platform out. And yeah, thanks all for being here, and yeah, we're looking forward to working with you to get this platform going and operational so that we can all use it for its many benefits. And I'll turn it over to Amy, our partner at 34 North.
Hi, good morning. My name is Amy Osti, and I am with 34 North and with the Sacramento River Watershed Data Program. And I'm here to give you a brief overview of the program, ask any questions and a short tutorial, and then be here after the fact. If you have questions or need anything, we will support all the data needs, etc. over here at 34 North. So nice to meet you.
I'll go. Hi, everybody. I'm Nancy Ogren, Siskiyou County Supervisor, District 4. And I just want to say, Lindsay, I'm really, really, really sad to see you go, but I'm sure you're going to have great opportunities at the Nature Conservancy. And Michael, thanks for stepping up. You've got big shoes to fill.
Oh, I know it. So one day at a time.
Good luck.
I'll still be living in Siskiyou County though, so I'm not going anywhere physically.
Oh, well, good. It'll be good to see you around then.
All right, I'll hop on in. New face here probably for many of you. However, there's a few folks of colleagues that I do see in the room here. My name is Jamie Allen. I'm the Director of Natural Resources for Northern California Resource Center, representing NCRC here today as a collaborator within the project here, and here to learn. First time in this forum, if you will, and looking forward to seeing kind of what's it all about, what's going on, get up to speed a little bit. I believe in, I'll be working with our executive director, Larry Alexander. However, I will, you'll probably see my face in here more often as we are juggling a lot at this point in time, and happy to represent and happy to take it and run with it. And yeah, good to meet all of you all out there, and thank you. Appreciate it.
I'm Peg Boland, and I'm computer literate, as Jamie will tell you. So I don't know how to switch to being seen, but I've been involved in previous mapping projects, Leslie Taylor, and anyway, I'm really interested to see how this works. I'd like to see it in operation, see how we can reasonably put in information to it and then get things out. So, and I'm retired. I've been retired for 15 years. I was the forest supervisor on the Klamath National Forest before I retired.
Well, great. Thanks for being on, Peg. I've got a couple of phone numbers with no names on them if one of the phone numbers wants to introduce themselves.
Yeah, this is Steve Wilson with CAL FIRE on the phone here, trying to log into the Zoom here.
Right on. Thanks for being here, Steve.
Clint, you want to go next? And company?
Sure. So yeah, I'm Clint Isbaum, the fire ecologist on the Klamath National Forest. In the room with me is Josh Schmallenberger. He's our forest fuels officer, our chief 3 here on the Klamath, and Jay Perkins, retired fire management officer, and someone who's worked on a lot of our community wildfire protection plans and fuels work here in Siskiyou County, and currently helping us with the wildfire crisis strategy through the 5 forests in the Klamath River Basin. So yeah, we're all here and all on, and look forward to hearing what we can help with here. Thanks.
And last but certainly not least, I think George, we're just doing introductions. You want to give a quick introduction?
Certainly not least, but last. Hey, George Jennings with Orcal RCD Council, and since about 2003 or 4, Yreka Area Fire State Council. Longer than Peg. Okay, just kidding. Probably about the same time.
Well, great. Hopefully everyone here has a copy of the agenda for today. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we're just going to kind of run through just a quick PowerPoint on today and kind of the next steps for us here. So stand by just for a moment. Okay, so hopefully you guys are seeing that.
Project goals.
Yes. Great. Okay, so this is, yeah, we're calling this the Siskiyou Collaborative Map Platform. That's our name for it. And so a little bit of background. So this Shasta Valley RCD, we have money, and we're working with 34 North, who is they're the kind of the tech side of things, and they are hosting this platform. I think many of you guys already have logins, but we'll go over that later. And so this idea, I think, was born out of a need of us, fire safe councils, CAL FIRE, Forest Service, tribes, the various NGOs, of having or not having a single area where we can all see each other's work, basically. And so this has kind of been a year in the making. There's a lot to it, but the user interface is fairly intuitive, and we think that there's a lot of possible benefits to having this platform up and running, and I think those benefits are, we get the most out of it when we're all kind of using it. Okay. So kind of some goals that we're aiming to achieve here. So we want, this repository, this platform to have not only maybe future and planned projects or ongoing projects, but also past projects that are recent enough to still kind of have their effect on the landscape, right? Be relevant. And so I think the ideas are, we can see where everyone else's work is, right? And use that to inform where we're going to do work in the future, and where that makes the most sense, where different kinds of treatments exist, and where we want to target future areas for treatment. So, this tool could be used when you're writing new grants, in applications. We also have kind of identified that this platform could be used in suppression if the information is, recent or updated enough, where fuels treatments are, where dozer lines are, and use that to inform suppression on, active incidents. This would be possibly an area to, take a look at if there's good information on here. So that's kind of the idea. This platform's similar to a lot of other, like I compare it to like Microsoft Office Suite or whatnot, where those programs, we all use them for some basic functions, but they have the capability of doing a lot more than that. And so this platform does that too, but we're just going to kind of go over some of those basic user interface functions today. And that's what Amy's going to be talking about. Yeah, so the Sacramento River Watershed Data Program is part of this as well. They work with 34 North, who actually does the data management and kind of the technical management of the platform itself. So, going forward, if you had questions, you could go through, directly to 34 North if you wanted to too. But so this Shasta Valley RCD has taken on this role of kind of being the ambassador of it, or the leader of this platform within Siskiyou County. We have the ability to decide who is going to be a part of it, or kind of influence that. So yeah, managing user access, I see that on there now. And we also are responsible on the funding side, so we'll get into that too. If our partners need funding to use this, we'll explore that. But we primarily are the ones funding this platform to even exist, to begin with, for all of us to use. And ideally, and to a limited extent right now, I or the RCD would be able to provide some actual technical support. You guys could come to me as well. But I'm looking forward to learning stuff today too. So we want to get to the point where the stakeholders are updating their own data, uploading it, downloading it, updating it on there so that it's correct as things change. All the metadata about it is correct. For those of you who that term is spooky, metadata is like the data for the data, right? It's everything about that project. It's shape files, it's when it started, it's who's doing it, it's what treatments are being done on that project. There could be photos. There's the ability to add all sorts of information and descriptions about your projects on here. And if they are updated, regularly and accurately, then that only benefits us all, right? So yeah, we've kind of talked about some of these opportunities, right? It's going to inform your grant reporting, grant writing for future projects. You can use it to kind of track your own projects internally. You know, it's something that there is, and maybe Amy will talk about it a little bit, but how the public is able to interact with this platform, which is much more limited than how us as users will be able to interact with it. But I think, you know, one of the larger opportunities is just getting us all on the same page of where we're all at and using that to prioritize future fuel reductions or fuel treatments in the county. So kind of steps of where we're at in it, we're kind of within the red box is where we're at. So we wanted to get you guys comfortable using it, some of these basic functions, uploading, downloading, updating. Yeah, and so, you know, you could probably send things to us, send things to 34 North, or just do it yourselves. And we'll go over how to do it. It's really, it's not a long process to do that. And so the data management on your end is kind of continuous, right? As things progress. We're going to go over, or maybe that's me going over it now, the kind of the data policies of the platform, and Amy can maybe explain it or fill in the gaps of what I'm missing. I know we talked about this a few weeks ago, but it's kind of already forgetting what some of it is. But, you know, so there's the ability to set who sees what you upload on here. You can set it to, you can pick, you know, I want the RCDs and, you know, a few other people to view it, but I don't want the public, or, you know, the public can view this, or no one can. I'm still working on it. And it's internal to you as the user. We're going to go over the analyze tools today, and those have a lot of really kind of neat applications for kind of doing more than just uploading your project on a map. They can tell you a lot more, and there's quite a few different tools that I think we'll go over today that you guys will find very interesting. But there is more information on the 34 North, well, the Siskiyou County platform on their data policy, but it's, you know, there's nothing hidden or there's no tricks, and so you guys can read up on that. I think, next steps. Okay, yeah, so today is just uploading, updating, and using that analyze tool. I think that's where, you know, even Lindsay and I have definitely, as we've started to kind of use this in an attempt to get more familiar and to actually use it as it's intended, I've definitely found that the analyze tool to be really helpful. We are going to send out a survey after this meeting that in an ideal world you guys could fill out. It doesn't take too long, by June 1st. And as like a little bit of a homework assignment, we'd love you guys to start uploading stuff by mid-July. And that would include, you know, not only throwing a, you know, project boundary up there, but actually having some accurate metadata to go with it. So that, you know, it's kind of you getting comfortable with it, and encouraging everyone to start using this, kind of get it off the ground. And we can go over any questions you guys have about logins or whatnot. Definitely be plenty of time for questions in this meeting. I think that's it. I'm tired of talking. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and turn it over. And if anyone has any questions now, go ahead and shoot it.
Thanks, Michael. And I'll just follow real quick. Thanks for that overview, and just for everyone, you know, the information that we're hoping you can start uploading onto the platform, or, you know, like completed projects that you've completed in the last, you know, 5 to 10 years. We're not going super way back in history. And then also, you know, any projects that are in process, you know, implementation phase that are being worked on. And then, you know, if there's any projects you have planned too, and that could also include, you know, like maybe on the Forest Service side, like areas that like have NEPA coverage, but don't have funding for a project yet. Because again, you know, this platform is intended to be used as, you know, kind of a collaborative project development and management tool. And so, you know, being able to see like where people want to do work and where people have done work. And then, you know, there's different layers also of, you know, prioritization schemes and stuff you can layer in there as well to show like, you know, where we should be planning the next projects. And so seeing where maybe some of that like environmental compliance has been completed, but you know, just haven't found the funding for a project can be really helpful. So again, that's kind of the spectrum of information that we're looking to you guys as, you know, implementers to get up on here.
Okay. If there's no questions, I'm going to proceed. Okay, so this particular presentation will keep it very straightforward and brief when it comes to most of the functionality throughout the site. And we can do a follow-up training that will focus on the more advanced features like doing geoprocessing tasks, intersections, things that you can do on your ARC desktop, but you just simply want to do some basic analyses. But in general, we're going to go over just the basic things like how to add a project, how to search the data, build maps, how to share, and just explore what's currently on the site right now. So I'm currently logged out. And basically what the Shasta Valley RCD and others have decided, we are currently letting the public view just 2 or 3 things from data and maps. And this is all up for discussion, right, Lindsay? This is kind of just a proposed information that's available to the public. So all of the planning-based maps, and this shows the various data sets that are available on the site and can be used for either project exploration, assessments, just creating maps that you want to share with other people to give some background about a particular area, or just explore conditions within the region. So everything from all your FRAP information, a lot of the modeling, the pods, boundaries, and infrastructure data. So you can pretty much find most of the infrastructure, boundary, HUCs, everything within the library itself. You have all your fire history and your forest activities, landscape blocks, species information, hydrology. It's all in there. And this just gives a basic overview to the public of the area itself. The other thing that's available to the public is Build a Map. And Build a Map is a basic map interface where you can toggle all of the different base layers. So you can go terrain, topo, satellite, whatever. And then here on the left-hand side, you can search the catalog, which has upward of 300 data sets that have been aggregated from various stakeholders throughout the county, also from the Sacramento River Watershed Data Program, has a lot of base information that's been available to you to use, make maps, and then also from the CWPPs and from the regional stakeholders themselves. So we'll go over that in a little bit of detail. On the left-hand side of the map here, we have all of your active data in the map, your legends, your base maps, analyze tools, GIS tools, which is the geoprocessing that I was talking about, where you can clip, intersect, dissolve, calculate. You have saved maps that are, you know, presets that have been set up for the users' projects, treatments, and real-time data. So we do allow access to all the sensor networks from the state of California and from USGS, so the stream networks, any graphing, and then printing. Also, what's available to the public is the partner project and treatments map. And this is basically a compilation of individual projects that are added using the platform, which I'll show you how to do as we move on, plus access to facts or CAL FIRE. So the platform uses all of the services that are being made available from state and federal agencies. We don't maintain any of these data, so they're updated as they are made available from the agencies themselves. So most of you are familiar with CalMapper and the facts data sets. So these are all up there and you can turn things off and on. We've turned off some others, but you can turn on the facts timber harvest treatments if you want. The map gets a little nutty after a while when you turn on all of the data sets, but we've made sure they're available here on the left-hand side in your active tab so that you can see which data you'd like to look at and or change. So Nancy, I saw you, did you raise your hand? Yes, go ahead.
Amy, you mentioned hydrology. What kind of layers do you have on there as far as, is there anything on there that refers to groundwater or surface water?
So here we go. I'm going to go. So I'm in right now. I went to build a map. I just logged in. I went to build a map. And what that will do is it will load the catalog. So this is the add data catalog. And you can do several different keywords about hydrology. So everything from the reservoirs, FEMA, your flow lines, your canals, anything with the projects, the hatcheries, the fish passages, all of the HUC, your hydraulic features.
Can you go back to
lakes.
FEMA? Are there any current FEMA layers, maps on there? Data?
The 100-year flood zones currently.
How recently was that updated?
Last year. So we update those every year.
Really?
How
How current is the FEMA data from on there? Because they've done, we've been going round and round about FEMA flood data, floodplain data.
I will look at the metadata for you and save a map and share it with you. And then you can check it out and download it if you want.
That would be fantastic. That would be amazing.
So we're looking at what's on the map right now. And once you're in the active data tab, you have a lot of options of what you can do with each of the data sets. You can zoom to the extent, you can remove it, turn the legend on, get a layer URL. So if you know how to use services, you can use services from the site. And then down here at the bottom are your downloads, shapefile, JSON, or KML. So we've made sure that it's open data standards. You can access the data and then download them. We don't allow downloading of rasters. So a lot of the big modeling, whether it's like the Sierra Nevada Resource Kit or something like that, we just ask that you reach out to us and we can get you those larger, big image-based remote sensing data sets separately. So going back to your, okay, so I logged in and I'm at the highest user level because I'm a site admin. And most of you are about a user level 6, I believe, that are on the call. And that gives you access to a few more things like the catalog. So right here is a catalog of everything that we have on the site. So whether it's research papers, images, data layers, it's a fairly robust catalog with everything from documents, maps, projects, treatments, reports, tools, layers in here. So if you're looking for something you can just do it by keyword and it will return everything back about a particular topic. So I searched Shasta and I'm getting a combination of saved maps, layer files. I'm getting the wildfire protection plan, some maps from the CWPPs. So it's already a fairly robust catalog of information. And as a user within the collaborative of the stakeholders, you're allowed to upload files and it pops up an uploader. Can you see that uploader on Zoom? Yeah, okay.
I can.
So you can go here, great. So here's my LiDAR research. I'm just gonna add a PowerPoint or something underneath, but you go and you start your upload. And I picked a 50 megabyte file, of course, so I'm gonna stop that. Try again, something much smaller. Let's do this GTR 220 and upload it. And now that gives me the metadata form. This metadata form is pretty standard throughout the entire site whenever you add anything from a project to a document. So you can, all your project documents can be uploaded here and attached to your projects, etc. And so we try to capture as much information as possible from a DOI to the authors. And so I'm just gonna go here. I'm making it public to everyone. If I don't want to make it public and I only want to share it with a group, I'll go here. So there's just me is allowed to see it currently, and I'm going to save my changes. And now I have this GTR here, and I'm going to share it with somebody in the group. And this is true for everything. This is true for a map. This is true for a project. It's currently private. I'm going to share it with, and I have this my contact list link here. And we have everything. We've set up groups. So we have the CAL FIRE Siskiyou unit, we have admin, we have 34 North, we have user level, we have CAL FIRE Siskiyou units. Oh, that's a dupe, sorry. Your government agency members, Yreka region, South County stakeholders, Scotts Valley. And so Lindsay and Michael have been making sure that they're putting together these subgroups so you can do a quick share with somebody. And so the Butte Valley stakeholders. And basically I will send an invite over to those guys, and everybody in this group is going to get that particular document, and they'll only have access to it. And so they can see it, and it will end up in their catalog. So when you go back and you go to the catalog and you go private, all of your shared documents are in here. These are things that are only available to you. And so the catalog is an important asset management component of the site. So you upload a lot of information that you have about a particular project, will make it accessible for when you build a project to attach or associate all this information to that particular project. So you have this nice project UI that I'll show you now. So let's go into, we'll start with projects. And what we have here, I'm going to go to search projects. And this is just picking up on the local projects that are not part of the CalMapper or FACTS or other databases right now. So these are all of the individual projects that have been updated through the Shasta Valley RCD or other stakeholders. And so they're currently in this list. And as you roll over them, you can see them on the map. But when we look at a particular project, so let's go to that project page, you'll see that every project has a generalized overview with its status, its acreage, any grants associated with it, a write-up, so project description. If you have any monitoring photos, those will pop up and be available. These are all project maps that I've made and associated to this project. So right now, it's going to load the Old Stage Road Field Break project workspace, and this just has we did some analysis early on with this particular area and this old stage, and all we did was extract all of the parcels for that particular fuel break, and then saved the map and attached it to this project. This is a land trust. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong one. I'm not going to show you that one. And then you have any new uploads that are associated to it. So if you had this nice brochure that they created, it just comes out and overlays on top of the map, so you can upload it, you can download it, you can print it, and then close it. And then you have all of the members of that particular project down here. So as you add more information to the project, it'll show up on this project page. And the way you do that is you would go to Tools, and you can upload new files to it, or you can add from Catalog. And so this little pop-up here, if I just want to look for Shasta, it's going to bring back any, oh, this is an important map, I think, for that particular asset. I'm going to save this. And then I will refresh this project page. Go back down, and that will be available, right? Where did I put it? Where's that map? Right here. So now I'm doing that. There's the map I just associated to it. So we've tried to make it as easy as possible to build a UI where you can add as much information to a particular project and then make it available for people to see at a URL. And then you have your tabs up here. So we separate it by documents, all of your metadata. There's a place to add comments. So if you want to comment on your collaborative workspace around a project, if you have any important reports, and then your editor. So, oh, I need to improve on all of the metadata that Michael was talking about earlier. So we collect a lot of information to keep all of our project data aligned with the FACTS metadata and the CalMapper metadata. And you'll see here that Lindsay and them have also added certain metadata fields for you to assign where that particular grant money is coming from, where there's a project URL elsewhere, if there is, all your treatment objectives, your landowners, your CEQA compliance, where you are in the environmental compliance, your lead agencies, and we've pre-filled most of that information, and then you can save that and it will reflect right back with that project and be available for reporting out to everyone in the county. So that's when you're just, once you've already built a project, this is what it ends up looking like. So let's go and build a project. I just went to build a map, and if you recall back to this map navigation here on the left, there is a add project. So when you select add project, you get a new menu from a shapefile, from existing. You can draw it, or you can just create a project that doesn't have any geometry, but you can get it started and add that later. So I'm going to go ahead and add a shapefile, and we do have a help system to help you format your shapefiles if you're not familiar with how to do that. Let's see, so I'm going to add, all right, I'm going to select from whole layer, and it's going to be my Western Mount Stowe. And as you can see, it just added that shapefile. So now I have that Western Mount Shasta geometry that we were just looking at earlier, and all of the metadata to be able to title it and set it up so that you have that original project page. I'm just going to make up some stuff and then delete this later. I'm going to make it public so everybody can see it. Wildfire prevention grant, hopefully, and save that, and you're good to go. So as you start to build a particular project, so now here it is, my test project, all ready to go. We can go back through that original workflow where you can go to tools and add all of the documents and layers or whatever you want associated with this project. And then you can go ahead and add treatments. So on this left-hand side, you have an add treatment. And I'm going to say from existing because this already has some features in here. And so I'm going to say my test project. I'm going to continue. I'm going to select my features. And it added right there. And I'm done. All right. So now I have this feature on my test project. So I'll go back to refresh this page. I need to go, I'm sorry, I didn't make it public. Search treatment. Oh, there we go. Oh, I am right. I'm sorry, you guys, I closed it too fast. Now I have to add a new one. So I have to add a new treatment. One more. Okay, so now I'm adding the treatment and I have to make that public so that I was able to see it. But what I wanted to show you right here is this metadata for adding a treatment is exactly how CAL FIRE is recording all of their metadata information on those big spreadsheets when you're doing fire, forest health and fire prevention grants. And that's important because you can do tracking or pre-planning even before you get into a situation where the project is funded and you can report back to CAL FIRE. So we've just set it up in a way that once you have everything already, you know, for this particular, so you can download those shape files and add them to your report. So we're making it so it's 100% seamless and all of your metadata is good to go, and it's tracking everything as CAL FIRE requires it within all of your grants. So that's an important piece. So then you're not doing everything over and over again when you're working on your shape files to prepare it back to the group, right? You guys have any questions about that? That's a little, it's a lot of metadata to deal with, but ultimately, it helps reduce your information that you have to keep tracking. And it's all set up exactly how they do it so that those are compatible with CalMapper, and you can do those submittals if you're familiar with any of that. You guys have any questions about that? So like right here, ownership types, all the jurisdictions, your broad vegetation types, your cost of ground disturbance activities, etc. Are you familiar with those? Yeah, okay. So now we have our treatment for that particular project here, and it's ready to go, and now it's being tracked with that particular project. So if I were to go back to nope. See how it mapped that little treatment for, there's the project, and then it maps the little treatment that I just made. So here's my treatment, that reforestation, and all ready to go as part of my whole project and treatments. So projects and treatments are set up right now so that one project has the project has a boundary for itself, and then treatments are can be many treatments to one particular project, so that you can continue to do various types of activities, treatment activities on a particular project. So just real quick, to add a project, you can go here from shapefile from existing or draw it, or you can add a treatment, but you have to assign it to a particular project. So just making sure that you know that each one of your projects can have multiple treatments, and you can track those that way. So do you guys have any questions about adding a project? Okay. So now I'm going to add the CAL FIRE CalMapper project data here. And what we also have in here is the, let's add this. We'll add our treatment tracking. So that's all of the stuff that we just added currently. Few others. So what I'm going to demonstrate right now is, so we've added this project in here, right? So this is now officially a project that you can access within the platform. I turned on what's happening in the region around there for through CalMapper. We could do the facts data if we wanted to too, just to get an idea of Forest Service nearby, looking for this one here. So this is the facts field reduction data set as well. So now you can start to look at what's happening, and everything is has metadata around it. So when it happened, what kind of activity was it, what is underway, who is the owner, any of the metadata that's accessed by both the databases, and then if it's been enhanced through our data set, then we just combine it on a separate tab. So now that I'm looking at this particular area, I'm wondering, all right, should we do another project, you know, right in this region here? So you can use the draw tools like you would. You can draw a polygon. And now you just want to know what are the conditions of that particular area. So I'm going to go, and you can do it one of two ways. You can start to look at, you know, like hazards, and this will bring back your severity zones, your responsibility zones, your anything. So your severity classes. You can start to turn that information on. Okay, that looks like it's in the high severity zone. You can look at fuels, and that'll start to bring back any information that we have within that particular topic, whether it's like wildfire hazard potential, your suppression difficulty indexes, risk to structures. Go back in here. I'm going to move my, actually, I'm going to make a title for my new planning. And you can drag everything up. So just like when you're using ARC or any of the West desktop mapping software, this is your layer manager, and you can move stuff up and down, or you can use the arrows so that your feature of interest is on top. Now I'm looking at this going, okay, I do think from just a basic assessment using the data sets that we have, I do want to really explore this further. And that's where we've set up the analyze tools for you. And the analyze tools do a number of things. And you can check the info button here for more information. But I'll just give you a general overview. So the project area analysis, we've set up to ask questions to data sets that you might not know exist within the data repository. And like most GIS data, there's so much information in every single pixel that it's hard to understand what it's telling you. So we've created charts and graphs and other explanations of what the information that's going to come out of that data set. So I'll hit single and I'm going to select my drawing layer here. And basically it goes out and it's looking at all kinds of things. It's looking at what's the severity zone in the watershed, what is the LRA, acreage, watershed, the responsibility zones, and who are the owners within that particular area. I can take it a step further and say, oh, okay, I want to look at, see if there's any wild urban interface threats going on. Oops, sorry. Cancel. And so now it's loading information on the housing in the WUI. So how many housing footprints by region, where in the region, Upper Sacramento, the fire threat. You have the high hazard severity zones, how many acres in each of those, your tree mortality. I'll look at the Prior-Logix model runs from the same area. And you can do this for any feature. So I could have done this on all of the polygons that were currently there for the CalMapper. And this is your risk to potential structures, your conditional risks. So this is coming out of the Allen Ager analyses, your suppression difficulty indexes. And the way we've set this up is that we can build these tools on the fly, or Michael can help work with you. If there is some very specific information that you want to ask when you're doing project planning and you would like it to just be in a simple tool like this, then we can go ahead and say, all right, well, if you can grab the HUC, grab the parcels, grab the streams and landowners and responsibility areas, we can combine all those into one of these reports as the next, but these are just basically examples. So are there any projects and treatments that are in the Siskiyou database currently right here? So I'm going to go ahead and click on that again, select my layer, and see what it comes back with. So there are no nearby projects. And we knew that because we had just selected that area and then went and decided to work there because it was open and ready to go. So I'm going to stop there for a second and check to see.
I'll just, while folks are formulating all their questions, I'll just, repeat that, these analyze tools can be super helpful, like especially in like developing grant proposals, like for CAL FIRE, because, they ask for all of those metrics about, oh, is it an SRA or LRA, or, how many structures are at risk, or, what's the fire hazard severity, so this will just spit out all that information, right there. So, you don't have to go and search for all that information and pull it together for those proposals. So it just makes it a lot easier for us when we're putting this stuff together.
Any questions further?
I got a quick
Okay,
question.
then
I got a quick question for you.
Sure.
This Clint here on the Klamath. Some really good information here. One of our curiosities is if this goes outside of Siskiyou County, a lot of this data, say into Oregon or adjacent counties.
It says it is currently in Shasta, Pitt, Modoc counties, and we're working to get the Tehama folks involved. We're also in the Tahoe area areas. So your region up in here, no. I was just going to show you in the Northern California. So where's the? I know we have the Northern California treatment tracking. That's a fairly developed program. That's all pretty much, it's this area right here. So we have data that goes across both those, and you can get those data stores published into Siskiyou counties because there is crossover between the Modoc and the Shasta areas. And we can add it in here. So this is just showing you basic data stores that we can add into it. We have not done that, but it's something we could easily do if Michael wanted to say, hey, let's add the Northeast information because there's overlap between the two. Then yes, there's that information available.
This is George.
Okay.
Question about, because our area is the upper Klamath watershed. It doesn't stop at the line. Is there any chance that some of this being watershed based where it crosses over the state line? Are you guys regulated by where you can spend your money because of the source?
No.
You can go over the line.
No, so we have the data store called the Restoration Network. And basically that is all statewide information that we've been able to aggregate at that scale. And so you can see if we were to look in here. And so this is a file directory system. It's not in this pretty, little easy to find searchable. This is more like, oh my gosh, there's another 5,000 data sets out there and we want access to them, but we didn't want to publish everything and make it too overwhelming. But you can come in here to this data directory and dig in, and you'll see as soon as this opens that we're looking at another few hundred. So we're looking at admin boundaries, LIDAR, all CAL FIRE data, county data, the California Forest Observatory, if you're familiar with that. We're looking at hydrology, FRAP, statewide FRAP information, the resource kit, U.S. Fish and Wildlife, and others. So I think at some point there just needs to be maybe a request of information that we'd like to add, or we can just start another iteration of statewide stuff to see how much of this we can fill with statewide data. Does that answer your question? Plus the Sacramento River Watershed Data Program also has a bunch of information that would be relevant over there.
So
When I did
my question is,
assessment
can
of
you
Modoc-
go over the,
Yeah.
can you go over the state line?
Oh yeah, sure.
Okay, because we have folks over in Modoc that, like, there's an RC&D in Alturas that goes into Nevada and some of their projects, and it's like, could be a range of mule deer and they want to improve the habitat and they don't want to just stop at the line. So I'm just wondering if that's possible with your funding. Are you able to have, if we get you some information, can we put it in here so that it doesn't stop at the yellow line? And
Yeah.
the Oregon and California border. So that's possible. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
also just to clarify a little bit, George, the RCD's current scope is Siskiyou County, just it's a CAL FIRE Siskiyou unit funded project, so we're trying to focus there, but understand that people's different kind of jurisdictions and scope don't necessarily stop at that jurisdictional boundary. So again, this is a tool that we can be flexible and open to providing usage that is beneficial to all of our partners, especially knowing that ORCAL expands, past Siskiyou County. We don't necessarily want to just make you stop it there. You can still add projects in other areas because, the potential for the platform is to go, further. But again, like our current efforts are just focused in Siskiyou at this time. But again, the user, you as a user can access whatever is useful for you.
Okay, I was just playing around with the data sets that are in here to kind of get you a flavor of what's been added. So there's been a lot of heavy lifting getting all of the Yreka information in here. So if that is an area of interest for you, all of the CWPP data is in here and usable. So there was just a lot of really good special study work that's been done. So all the threats, the intersect, there's a lot of good specific information for that area, albeit it's kind of small because we ended up using it for an interactive CWPP. But oftentimes, once we get going, we'll find that certain organizations have gone the extra mile to do some data analysis or processing that creates a data set that's a little more interesting, like a high-res veg map or whatnot. So we have the ability to host any sort of shapefile geodatabases, raster files, or services. If you prefer to work like you have a data store similar to CalMapper that you have hosted through your ArcGIS Online, we can just host a reference to that service. So that if you're ever making an update and you just want to keep your data set managed on your end, but you want to give access to it so that's available, then that's absolutely no problem. We do that on a regular basis. We're fairly competent in doing any sort of Esri handshakes across various different data types and data stores with permission issues and stuff like that. If there's tokens that are involved or whatever, we can actually manage those. And that's a good way if you're a large organization and have a lot of GIS, but you want to contribute to a collaborative, to actually just have your own data store published and then made available here. So I was going to show a couple quick things. So we have the Siskiyou County CWPP up as an interactive with maps. It is still kind of in the works, but you can go through and do a full interactive map. And ideally, what we would like to see happen is that these data sets are always up to date, and so that the maps get the blessing of a CWPP, and then we're just pushing the maps according to the data sets because they're always constantly being revised. And that's some of the responsibility of the data program, is to keep a lot of these data updated if they're statewide or coming from an agency themselves. So this is something that everybody can take a look at if they want, and just get an idea of what it's like to put something online in an HTML format for the CWPP. And I'll let those guys send you a link so you can check it out. And let's see. Okay, one last thing, and then I won't do too much more. So if you recall, we had the Analyze tab here, and then the GIS tools. And so this is pretty good for, let's use the parcel data set. If you just need to do some basic analysis on a data set and you don't want to fire up your desktop application, or you don't have access to one, then we do have the ability to do simple things like acreage calculation on a particular feature. For example, just really simple stuff. Oh yeah, I remember that guy. Let's see, let me go to this one, it's even better. So this is the parcel data set, and you know who you're looking for. We'll let it load. It's a little large. And so everything that is a feature service or a feature data set, you can have this great data set here in the table where you can start to zoom to things, you know, using the table. And the table is actually really good for the project, for CalMapper, for looking at CalMapper data, for FACS data, and for anything like a parcels data set where it's really, really large. And let's say we look for James, and this will bring back everybody with the name James on it. Oh, I'm looking for foreign James. And now I want to get a little more information. Then you can go into your geoprocessing and go, oh yeah, how much acreage did that guy have? And go here into calculate, and you select your data set and it will tell you whatever. And then you can go into your analyze tools and go, okay, so I want to know a little more information, and it will start building your reports right on top of that. So if you're just looking at landowners, getting a profile on your landowners, getting a profile on any of the parcels on a nearby parcel, or you want to know, do an assessment that way, find some things based off of, I don't know, whether or not it's 10 acres and above, that type of information, and just filter all of those out. You can do that using this table view. So if you're familiar with ARC and you're familiar with tables and how they interact with the map, then this is a really good way to actually sift through big data sets and whittle it down to something. Anytime you do work and you are happy with the way it turned out, like this parcel map right here for some reason is a good one, you can go to this save map here, and I'm going to save a new map, and I'll make it available. This is my parcel analysis. I'll save it. And you can do this with any saved map, with any later on there. And now I'll go back to my maps, and here's my parcel analysis map that I made. I'll just go back there. And that'll load up for me. And then I'll go to tools, and I'm going to share it with Lindsay now. So I'll just go, Lindsay, take a look at this parcel I found. Here she is. And most everybody in the region is in the database. And now it's going to send this to her, and she'll have access to do what she wants. She can edit, she can add data. She can go back in here and say, okay, well, I was thinking there's a creek in here somewhere that we need to be talking about. And she can move it around, go back and save it again, overwrite what I did, and then go back and share it. And those updates will be on your recent activity too. So now when Lindsay goes to my maps, this map will be there for her to use anytime that she wants to use that for. Lindsay, am I missing anything? Am I going too fast as usual?
I guess we could just pause and see if anyone has any questions about anything that Amy's gone over.
Hey, Lindsay, this is Jay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, I don't know when it's appropriate to ask any questions, but first I want to make a statement, if I may, and just state that, when Julie Titus and I were trying to get data 5 years ago for the Siskiyou County CWPP, what you and Michael and the RCD and Amy have done transcends any notion that we had of accessibility of data, much less being able to assist in project preparation. So this is astounding. So kudos. What's the process going to be for, there's a couple of NGOs that I know have very archaic GIS information, like NCRC. They've got stuff that was done in a very old version of GIS. They may still just have paper maps. Will we have a means by which to get those data uploaded into here? That's for either you or Amy.
Yeah, well, I guess one thing I'll just share in that, well, thank you for the support. Yeah, we're excited to, get this thing rolling and usable and useful for everyone. And also just as a reminder, its usefulness is as much as each of us puts into it. Like we at the RCD have put our projects on, but highly encourage everyone else to get their projects on and keep the data up to date and update when projects are implemented or complete. So, everyone has a real-time, status of where things are at. And then also, in terms of getting older project data up there, like I mentioned at the beginning, we're only looking for project data that is, 5, I think 10 years old at the most, because especially kind of in our fuel types and forest types, like, in 10 years the treatments, need, some considerable maintenance or retreatment. And we also don't want to, go too far back in time to where things may not be, too applicable anymore, or just too onerous for folks to really go back in time. But so, 10 years old or younger for projects is what we're looking for. And then Amy, I don't know, do you want to address kind of the how you can, we or you can kind of help make sure that the the shapefiles and data are in the right format?
Yeah, so the learning how to do GIS, or we try to make it as easy as possible for adding your own projects. But if there's other data that you want added to the database, then just send it over to us. Lindsay's team had set up a just like a Dropbox. But also you can use this catalog right here and zip up all of your shapefiles. So let's just say you have a special veg map and some infrastructure data, things that you want added to the catalog because that it's of value. You can upload it using the uploader as zipped all up into one. I think you have about 1 gig worth of data that you can put into that, and then share it with the site admin that way. And then we'll know to go in there and that needs to be added to the catalog. And you could even, I think if we go share this site admin right here, and that copies Michael and Lindsay too. So then they'll know what's been added. And so when you add these in there, you have the ability to type a message. Hi, this is so-and-so from this organization. Here's like 5 shape files. And once they've been uploaded, if you didn't give us any metadata, we'll share that asset back with you, and you can add the proper titles and descriptions and all that stuff, because that's kind of where things get a little bit difficult, because we get so many data sets that don't have any metadata with them. But the way we've been dealing with that is just sharing that asset back. So if I'm in search data here, so these are all the data sets that we have, I can just share that back to you, or we can share that back to you, and you can go into edit and edit all the metadata. And we have everything from the ISO, if you're familiar with standards, basic metadata standards, and you have someone that can fill that in, all the better. But in general, just get some basic description, who it's from, how old is it, what was it used for, credit to the proper people if it's a model run or something like that. But right now, if you have a bunch of data that you want added, you can add it that way, or just get in touch with Michael and we can coordinate another way.
Any other questions?
One more for you, Lindsay. Well, actually, I got
Go for it.
lots of them, but you don't have enough time left in that chair to answer them all. You'll be doing another training for South County, because, you know, I noticed Giselle and Julie and others need to be on this, to hear what's going on.
Yes, yeah, our intent to enrolling this out is to do it kind of geographically by different regions in Siskiyou County. And, you know, part of that is because, you know, you all probably already know each other or, you know, work together, kind of know what kind of projects you guys are working on. And also, again, kind of going back to one of the intents of the project is to just foster more collaboration. So we're kind of trying to do these regional meetings so that, you know, folks who are working in the same geography, you know, can kind of start getting used to working with each other in this platform. So yeah, we'll do a South County one next, and then probably Scott Valley will be after that. And then we'll do a like Western Klamath one and Butte Valley as well.
So just make
You know,
make sure Michael has Julie's address, so they get an invite yourself.
Jay, I think you might need to get a little bit closer to the microphone. You're sounding a little far away.
He just said, we'll make sure that Michael has Julie and who's the other one? And Giselle's contact information for that.
Yeah. Yeah, we have both of them. We've actually we had a meeting like specifically with Giselle and Julie and some other Fire Safe Council folks about this too, just as kind of a primer into getting to the larger stakeholder group in South County.
So everybody has an account on this call. I'm pretty sure we didn't miss anyone, but if we did, get in touch with Michael. And it's your email and your password is Siskiyou with a capital S. So you can go there now and log on and build maps and save maps and add projects and play with it all you want. Yeah.
I think if we're okay, maybe did folks want to take a quick 5-minute break if there's no further questions before we keep going along, or do we want to just kind of power through it? Does anyone have any strong feelings either way? We did allot some time for a quick intermission if folks had to get up and use the restroom or anything.
Well, I think we've mostly made it through all of the work we were going to do, because Amy went through both the, you know, adding projects and
Okay.
the analyze tool. I guess one last thing I might ask Amy to show folks is the process of if someone has a project that's already in CalMapper, how to kind of pull that out and then fill in that more extensive metadata that we have, just so that we have a little bit more information about those projects. Because I know that many of you, you know, have your projects that were funded through CAL FIRE, that, you know, you probably submitted your spatial data through, and so, you know, that's already in there. And there is a process for you know, pulling that out of CalMapper, and I assume it might be the same with the Forest Service facts, but we haven't actually kind of crossed that bridge. Amy's nodding. So, you know, so if there's, you know, more information than is just kind of stock in those larger databases that would be valuable for our like local collaborators to have more information about, Amy can just kind of go through that process real quick.
Yeah. Okay. So, you know, once again, if you know where it is, and it's already in CalMapper, and I'll just use this BMP here as an example. You just go over to your add a project, and you're going to choose from existing, and you can either pull that data set up, but I already have it up, so I know what's there and I know where my project is. And you hit continue, and you select your feature rather than whole layer again, right? And this one has two, so I going to get both of those. So now I have both of those polygons for this particular project. I'll go done, and I'll pull my metadata box to the side. And I think this is the Scott Valley Ranch. See, so you can click on it and you know what it is here and fill it in the metadata. We collect this metadata automatically. It will be stamped and added to your master project, but we don't replace our metadata with that metadata because we're trying to keep it. Yeah, anyways, we collect both, the one you're adding and the one that you're going to be doing sort of on a custom Scott River. I'll just call it, fill all these out. Sometimes the acreage is already in here, so 605.51, or I'd say most of the time it's in there. And you can put descriptions, you can do your leads. Remember, these are been set up by the Shasta Valley. If somebody's missing in the lead organizations or any of this metadata, then just let us know and we'll add it. And then I'll make it public, and any additional details, environmental compliance, anything else. And there you go, save changes. And now you have an official project page for an archived project that was in CalMapper that maybe you want to do a little more information, add pictures, monitoring pictures, or documents, stuff like that, that isn't part of the CalMapper infrastructure. And we will always do a lookup, or we do a lookup about once a month into CalMapper. So if there's an official update to this polygon, then we will capture that. We keep really good track of lineage when we're working with FACS or any of the master databases, because those are the databases that are going to feed a lot of the information on your maps. This just gives you an opportunity to expand on that project, maybe even add to it in a planning. So, you want to do additional work in the area. And now you have this as an individual polygon, and it's not part of a feature set, if that makes sense, right? It's not part of the big CalMapper. You have that, and you can treat it as its own polygon and make stuff with it on the map. And then once you're there, you can run all your tools. The map nav is with you everywhere that you go, whether you're on a project template or not. I forgot this one last thing that is kind of cool. So the public sees this map, right? This is that one master map. And it's a combination of a bunch of different data sets currently. And I know the state's working on a combined data set, so we won't have to toggle or go between like 50 different data sets to get a full project inventory from the state and feds. But if the map is in the database, you have these rollovers. This is all the information we collect. But we also have this project info slide out, which is a nice visual. So if they want to get more information about a particular project, we give them this little slide out here for just only map interaction, not looking at catalogs, all this other stuff that's kind of real of a content management system, more just kind of a lean back experience.
Thanks, Amy, for going through that. I want to address George's question in the chat, which is NCR or NCRP. Sorry, actually, what I originally read that as NRCS, but integrated with NCRP. Yes, we have met with NCRP to kind of discuss how to integrate this work with their project tracker. I mean, again, you know, it comes kind of down to those jurisdictional boundaries where NCRP only has the, you know, Klamath Basin portion of Siskiyou County. And so only a portion of the data will apply to that. But there is you know, a mechanism that 34 North can help easily transfer data from this into the NCRP project tracker. And Amy, you know, please kind of correct me if I'm wrong there.
Yeah, I was talking to Tim about using their service because they have that project table. So they're using, I forget the name of the software that they're using for their project tracking, but it's supposed to be spatially enabled. So all we'd have to do is take the feed and map it like we do anything else, right? Same, we have the geometry as part of the feed, the project title description, and some others. And Tim and I were talking a little bit about doing more alignment between a few things so that there is more regional North region compatibility between the Northeast and the Northwest.
So looking at the, I guess the same question for Sierra Nevada Conservancy, it sounds like they're making a push to cover all of Siskiyou County and Modoc County and going outside of the Sierra to the Oregon border. Are you guys connected with them in the same way? Okay.
We are being told the same thing, yes, to align our things, yes.
Okay.
So, yeah. So on the training part, we'll go over it again, but if you're just playing around and you want to print something, just hit the print on the bottom left, and it'll put you in a user interface right here where you can create a PDF. So you can, you know, take a server print. This is higher quality local print. Let's do a. So now it's in my doc library. It's going to go create it. So if I go to catalogs and my private, there's my map that I made right there. So I can view it that way. Oh, not ready. If you get that error, just give it a couple of seconds. It will populate. Give it one more sec. Anyways, it should show up there. I'll check on that. What's wrong with my URL?
Well, while Amy's working on that, yeah, are there any other questions or anything else anyone would like to see today with this? Again, you know, this is being recorded and we'll send this out too, so you can, you know, reference that to help, you know, start, you know, kind of learning how to do this at your own pace after the meeting.
Oh, there's an extensive help section just right here in the main navigation where you can learn how to explore maps, make maps, manage documents, add projects, and then the more you know, advanced stuff like styling layers or geoprocessing tasks, stuff like that. But I think it's the first best thing for everybody to do is just go play with the data and explore it. And there's so much great stuff in there to learn about the region and pulling things together. You know, you can do your own project plan, and remember that if you have to save a map or you have a map that you want associated to a project, and we can teach you how to do that in the next training. So you can save a bunch of maps to your projects. But you can just start saving them now and they'll end up in My Maps, and we'll teach you how to use them with other things at the next event.
Yeah, so going forward, you know, we are going to send out a quick survey today. If you guys could fill that out. You know, as we have, you know, similar or, you know, kind of identical meetings as this with our other groups like South County, Scott Valley. You know, if you guys wanted to join in on that too, just to get more exposure to it, I don't think that's a problem at all. It's something Lindsay and I have had many meetings with Amy, and it kind of definitely takes a while to you know, the more exposure you have to it, the more comfortable you get. It can be a little daunting at first, but you know, we can also more than happy to set up meetings with the same group in the future that kind of go into, if you guys have areas that you guys want more training on that you've identified, then we can certainly set those up and go over, you know, keep these tutorials coming. But yeah, if there's no other further questions, I think that's all, you know, Lindsay and I had on our end.
Yeah, and yeah, just first one, you know, thank you everybody for coming together and sticking through all this. Like Michael said, you know, it can be kind of overwhelming, but yeah, we encourage you to get on there and start using it. If you have issues logging in again, you know, contact Michael. Michael, maybe put your email in the chat just in case, you know, if folks don't have it, but I'm sure you probably have it from the invite. And also I'll say one thing and then I'll go to Jamie, but and that survey too is you know, it's really short. It's just to give us an idea of how you and your organizations intend to use the platform, and kind of help us help you in how to get there. And it'll also, you know, we have funding through this grant. So if you you know, need funding for your organization to you know, get your projects up online and you know, even like, you know, attend more trainings and all that kind of stuff. But, you know, we understand that the RCD, we're all grant funded, and we know how, you know, these things work, and it can be a considerable time investment to kind of go through all your data and get your projects up. And so, you know, we were, you know, really understanding of that and want to make sure that folks have adequate funding to engage with this process. So, you know, there's information in the survey to identify whether you need funding for this. And so that'll just, again, help us start that process to get that going for you guys. And Jamie, did you have another question?
Yeah, quick question. Pardon if I missed it or not. Is there a, for better words, like a cheat sheet or a guide, user's guide that's been produced for some of these exercises that we went through, kind of directed at Amy out there and Lindsay there in general?
Yeah, the help guide in the main navigation
Okay.
is a good place to start.
Thank you. I heard that. I wasn't sure if there was a printout PDF or anything like that, but just going the digital style is the way to go. Okay.
Yeah, and you know, the video, we have a couple of videos, and if there is our videos, they're embedded in the help page.
Okay, copy. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Yeah, and again, we'll also send out the recording of this meeting. So if there were specific things that Amy went through that you want to kind of go through and watch again, you'll have access to that here too. Any ending remarks from anyone?
Nancy, I will put together a map for you of any of the FEMA data, save it and share it with you so you can see if there's anything of use to you. I'm going to dig into the statewide stuff
Yeah, that would be great. And if also LiDAR, if you have anything on
Mhm.
LiDAR that would have anything to do with watershed, groundwater, surface water, that would be amazing.
Yeah, the flights are, I don't think they've started processing a lot of that stuff in the region, so
Okay.
I know that's a big, everybody wants that stuff.
I know. It's hard to get a hold of.
It is, it's a pain too. Yep.
And you probably know this maybe already, Nancy, but the Siskiyou County was flown for the 3-depth LiDAR, and USGS is just, yeah, still processing that to make it available, like Amy just mentioned. So
Yeah.
it will be coming, and I'm sure the second it's available, Amy will have it up. So
Yeah, everybody's just waiting and waiting and waiting. It's like,
Yeah.
who's gonna get it first?
awesome. Well, yeah, thanks again, everybody. And yeah, feel free to reach out if there's any other follow-up questions, or you guys need more information or help with any of this. And yeah, we look forward to working with y'all to get this up and running, and so we can all start using it to get more good work on the ground.
Thank you, guys. This has been great.
Yep, thank you all.
Thank
Have a good
you.
one.